All right. Well, hello and welcome, my friends, to our LinkedIn Live event. I'm here with Robert and Bai, and this is something that I have thought about for a while. And so, Robert, I know this is somewhat new for both of us,
Yeah.
not new as well. And man, I think the idea is really simple. I
Mm-hmm.
just wanted to get online and just talk about stuff. No, now that sounds a little weird, but man, I miss those days when I would go live on YouTube
Every
every
Friday.
Friday.
The
Every
yeah,
Friday.
awesome days.
But I want to do this one slightly differently.
Okay. You want
I
to
want to
be
do it.
doing it every week, or how do you want to do it?
I'm not sure. And that's why, I mean, sometimes you think about doing something or taking some action. And if you start thinking about like a lot of things in business, they're not like marriage. Yeah, you don't have to commit to
Yeah.
it. You can do whatever the heck you want. Now, of course, I want to set expectations and yeah, if I promise something, I want to deliver, right? So, but you can
Yes.
test
Yes.
things. So, yeah, man, this is a test, and well, you know my story of kind of getting over imposter syndrome, and also everything. Now, I'm like, hey, I just want to explore, and if I find good energy, I'll continue it.
Yeah.
So, how I want to do it differently is really not nothing external. It's
Yeah.
not outside. It's not, oh, do I do it at Friday 9 o'clock? No,
Yes.
and we are here on Wednesday 10 o'clock my time. But man, it's more about internal, because the truth is that yes, I enjoyed answering questions, but it's even debatable if I mean we still do the Q&A call, but the
Yeah.
part that lit me up were the discussions in the end, where I sometimes shared my
Ooh.
stories. And
Yes.
the number
Yes.
of times I've cried on those Friday morning calls. Those are the good times.
Yes.
I want to do that. I want to cry today. No, just kidding.
Okay.
That's the goal. No.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm all on board. I remember you asked me sometime to there was a time we had so many ideas, and that was the concern, that yeah, in a year we have so many new ideas, and sometimes it's
Yeah.
difficult to be true to all of them, but once in a while we get a really good idea that we enjoy.
Yes. And again, I want to be in that experimentation phase. And for folks who are watching, do type in a comment if you're watching right now. And I do request kind of your permission to allow me to do that, allow me to experiment. And
Yes.
and I think this would help. And folks who have noticed me, I am re-energized. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn, and I'm really, really enjoying some of the conversations I've been having in comments, but mostly in the messages, private messages. And yes, I'm here. I'm available. Send me a LinkedIn message. I'm here for our Pro Plus members. I'm here for my followers. I'm here to help. So excited about that. So yeah, so it's a bit of an experiment. I think it's going to be cool.
Okay.
Having said that, Robert, you know me, man. I do get carried away. So
Uh-huh.
um I was like, yeah, it shouldn't be like we're just rambling about stuff. So I
Yes.
did have two ideas in mind. The
Okay.
first one is scholarship. And I know
Yes.
you're
Yes.
very focused on that. You're very focused on
Yes.
that right now. And the
Yeah.
other one that I can talk about is, of course, which I mentioned, that this being re-energized about LinkedIn. Why is that happening?
Yeah.
Why am I doing it now?
And on
And
LinkedIn.
where
Yes.
we might go with that, right?
Yeah.
So, um, yeah,
And there's a
that's
message. There are messages coming in from LinkedIn. Somebody's asking if they can post a question for you for us to answer. So I
hey,
don't know
just
if
yeah, just put it in the chat. We'll keep an eye on the chat, folks. So, unlike some previous times, hey, Mark says hi. Hello, Mark. Good to have you here. Yeah, folks. So absolutely put things in the chat. We may not get to it right away, but we will get to it. Yep. So actually, before we start talking about our business, I also wanted to say one thing that
hmm
Robert, part of me has been hesitant in starting to share about our business, my life.
Okay.
because man, it feels too good to be true in some ways. Not to say they're not challenges. You know, I
That's a
both
good
know,
problem to have.
right? Yeah, I mean, if I met my earlier self
Yeah.
and described this life, my earlier younger self would have said, "Oh, come on, stop BSing me." Yeah, yeah, sure. Are you gonna sell me the Brooklyn Bridge next or something, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Do you
That
find
is
yourself? And of course,
that is such a well, that is such a positive from my end. What I think really carries the day, because as much as you say that I think business has a lot of challenges, I think how you try and remain positive despite all the challenges, that is
yes,
really, really, really powerful. Because we do have an awesome life, we do have awesome things that happen,
yeah,
but I also see lots of challenges, and I like how you do not let those pull you down. Because
yeah,
business is not easy. Business is not easy. The number of times you have to go back to the drawing board and think of those things, I really think it also
yeah.
requires a positive outlook.
That is true. It's not for everybody. If you cannot enjoy the journey, then yeah, it needs a different perspective, that's for sure. But you and I both are in a position where we can take care of ourselves,
Yes.
financially, take care of our physical health, mental health, take care of our loved ones, be around them, and do other exciting things in life. You're building a home. I'm so excited about that. I've been telling everybody about
Yes.
that. My
Yes.
kids like, oh yeah, he did the blueprint and
Yeah.
and this is
Yeah.
going on and that's going on. Um, yeah, and we can kind of do that on our own terms. So I
Yes.
was just curious. I wanted to ask you: how do you when you sometimes it's hard for me even to answer simple questions like you've heard my stories. Like, I mean, at parties, they
Yes.
would say, "Hey, how are you doing?" And
Yeah.
then I would give them such an over-the-top response, like, "Oh, fantastic," or,
Yes.
or yeah, it'll be weird. Yeah, I mean, how much do you share about your life or what it is, knowing that
Mhm.
others may not have it, others may still be stuck in that hamster wheel still.
So to be clear, how much I share to who? To the people around me, or to whenever I meet our members when you're having conversations? Oh,
People around you, yeah.
okay. Um, yeah, quite a bit. Uh, well, I would say sometimes work is work, but what I think I find interesting about work, the work that we do, is there in most cases there are new things. We are discovering new things, be it challenges and whatnot. And I think one of the recent things that I could not stop doing and getting people around me to adopt was also AI. After you went from the MVP summit in Seattle, and you came really, really excited about AI, and I think that also got into me, and I could not stop talking to my wife about AI,
Yeah.
my brother-in-law who's just finished high school, telling them about AI. But yeah, I think I do find myself speaking quite a little bit about what we're doing, and what's happening and the things that we're discovering,
Yeah.
or once in a
Yeah.
while complaining about a question I've got from that was difficult from a member. Yeah,
Yeah, that's true. And I think that's where I want to be, because
yeah,
the thought that I had was that I see a lot of people who are kind of stuck in the world that I was in,
yeah,
which was, kind of the hamster wheel, just chasing that. And of course, when I turned 40, I just paused and said, I mean, and again, it was a good life,
yeah.
but I felt like, is this it? Is this as good as it gets? I mean, do I just keep doing this thing, keep climbing the corporate ladder or whatever till the rest of my life? And I wanted something else. So either people who are kind of still stuck there and wondering
Yes,
maybe,
yeah,
and then of course there are the idiots in their Lamborghinis and mansions who are saying, "Hey, look at me, I'm so awesome." And
yes,
I don't
yes.
think that helps either. So I always felt hesitant that I would sound like them.
And I guess that's a tight balance when you want to motivate people, but you also don't want to sound as if you're bragging.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
But what I've come to, and that's why we're here today, is
Yeah.
that I feel we're the good guys. You know, and of course, maybe those everybody feels that way, right? But I am
Yeah.
convinced, and
Yeah.
you know, and you guys are watching and back me up or not, right? And man, if the good guys don't speak,
Yeah.
that's such a loss because then it's filled with either people who are kind of still confused, they need help, and these idiots in their Lamborghinis and showing around their mansions like, look at me, I'm so awesome, right? So I think we need something in the middle. I think we
Yeah.
need the good guys to speak up, and
Sure.
knowing that, yes, to some people it would seem like bragging. It's like, yeah, but yeah, your life is awesome, man, good for you, right? But I can't control that.
Yeah.
But I sure hope I don't let that hesitation. It's really my fear of judgment, my fear of being judged by others, which is
Yeah.
stopping me from helping people, right? So that's how I'm seeing it. All right, cool. So hey, we promised the business insider. Let's step into the business insider. So folks, again, these
Okay.
calls we'll just talk about kind of whatever's going on in our lives in a business at this time, and this time, Learn Power BI scholarship is a big thing. Oh, hey, by the way, who had it? Greg had a great question. So, folks, yeah, we will make sure we save time for the questions, but you'll get insight into some of our stuff just through these discussions as well. So, man, scholarship. I'll kick it off, and then I want to hear from
Okay.
Robert. So, I shared a story with Robert, and I think I heard it on a podcast, and it was about somebody who they got separated from their wife. They were too focused on their work, and relationship didn't go well, so they got divorced. And there was a
Yeah.
kid involved as well. And initially, they partied up, marijuana, smoking, drinking, partying, all of that. But then they came to their senses and realized that they really wanted the family back. So the person kept going back to his ex-wife, and in one way or another, just just trying to like, hey, let's go do this and that, we can do this with the kid together, somehow trying to get back. And at one point, the ex-wife was so frustrated, she said that I would rather set myself on fire than be back with you. But they didn't
Yeah.
give up, credit to that. And then they shared about the moment where they realized that instead of what they were doing was that they were scheming.
Mm-hmm.
Everything they were doing, like, oh, I'm gonna spend this time, we're gonna go get ice cream on the Santa Monica pier, and then she'll remember our first date, and then she would want to get back with me.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was scheming. I said, oh, if we get this. And he said, man, if I stop scheming,
Oh, that
in
was
if I
yeah.
can just be the person who they want to be with. And man, that shook my world, Robert, because I started questioning everything. And hey, again, I mean, I am the good guy. I know I want to help people, but
Yeah.
the way I'm doing it, is it right? And it's not
Yeah.
external. It's nothing external. External, we may not change anything. So, folks who are following us, you may not see any change externally, but I want to check. I want to look inside. I want to see what's in my heart. When I'm talking to people, am I scheming? Am I thinking that, oh, maybe I'm going to have this conversation, I'm going to help them, and then they're going to sign up for my consultant program, and then they're going to, give me a testimonial, right? And I'm like, oh my God, is that how I've been living my life? And again, I know I have good intentions, but those don't matter. It's about the day to day, how you're operating, the energy you're carrying. So, um, and awareness is the first thing. So I feel
Sure.
thankful to this person for giving me that insight. So we looked at scholarship, and I talked to Robert, and I think externally we haven't really changed our process as such, but
Yeah.
internally both Robert and I are committed that maybe there was some undertones earlier. There's like, yeah, scholarship help people, da da da, all that sort of stuff, need based
Yeah.
scholarship, but there was some intent that, oh, can we uh, then have them give us a testimonial or something. And I'm like, well, maybe they'll give us a testimonial, maybe they won't. Who cares? That's
Yeah.
secondary. How
Yeah.
can we serve people? So here we are running a scholarship. So Robert, this is challenging. What would you say are the challenges around running the scholarship?
Um, I think the first challenge is to get the right people. Because right now we've kind of reevaluated why we really want to do this, and we know we have an amazing product. Our Land Power BI course is really, really good. It is really valuable,
Yeah,
and it attracts a lot of people. So finding the people who would be the right fit and who they're by the right fit, I mean people who are willing to commit, because we are willing to walk the talk. We're willing to really make sure that they benefit, they learn, and they know where to apply these, and they get the full benefits of the scholarship. So selecting people who are equally committed, people who want to who really want to gain knowledge and apply it.
yeah,
I think that's the hardest part.
yeah. So l- let me ask you something, which I
Yes.
think you've heard from me before,
Yeah.
but I'll lay it out. A part of me always questions offering things for free.
Yes.
Now we do that. We do
Yeah.
the Learn Power BI scholarship, and just earlier we ran the Real Power BI campaign where we're offering
Yeah.
free consulting help to
Yeah.
businesses. In both of these, I always um, it's always a mixed bag. Like in
Yeah.
scholarship, we give away this free scholarship, and it's so valuable. This can change their life because we're not just talking about their technical stuff. So I think I was thinking about a program on the scholarship, and gave me some
Yeah.
clarity. There are a lot of courses which teach you Power BI,
Yeah.
but a lot of them don't tell you how to execute on a project. And we have that. We walk you through
Yeah.
the dashboard challenge. We talk about the agile approach. We talk about how to do weekly sprints. That is such a core skill. Like you can have all the Power BI skills, but if you don't know how do you go week by week and deliver a finished project, which blows them away in a month, how do you even choose the right project?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of value there, not to mention the career elements that we have been weaving in to all of our
Yeah.
programs. Last time we did a private session for our scholarship members about how to uh, how to get a job. Use LinkedIn.
Yes.
We had a
Yes.
deep conversation there. We
Oof.
still have the recording,
It was
and
so
this time,
useful. It
y-
was so useful. And I think even some of, and we're not encouraging this. I think somebody from the scholarship even brought in a friend. You remember?
yes, oh, of course, yeah, and hey, that was I was cool by that. Yeah, yeah, that was pretty interesting though. And So it is so valuable, but man, people check out, right?
Yes.
That is what I'm saying. You're talking about right candidates. Like, dude, we want candidates who are committed. We're so committed to this. We're committed to everything we do. I mean, scholarship,
Yeah.
Learn Power BI, Pro Plus program. Our biggest challenge has been that people check out. And I think so. I had heard this phrase from one of my coaches.
Yeah.
And man, you gotta be careful about the things you repeat in your head. You probably heard me say your life, the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your questions you ask.
Questions. Yes.
Well, there's another one, the quality of your life, and really your life is shaped by the quotes you believe in or choose to believe
Okay.
in. That's the true one, choose to believe in. So there's
Yeah.
this quote which rattles in my head a bit. If they don't pay, they don't pay attention.
Okay.
And we seen that a little bit in scholarship, and
Yeah.
we've seen that in the Real Power BI. Again, that is so valuable. We're giving businesses these opportunities to
The real
work
Power
with the
BI. Yes.
qualified
Yes.
consultant. Man, this could
Yeah.
be worth thousands of dollars. A
I
month long
know.
engagement with a consulting firm like this could be easily $10,000 or more. Man, if you walk into
Yeah.
one of the big ones, a month long engagement could be $100,000 or even more. So
Yeah.
they're getting this value, but still we run into these challenges of where they're checked out, they don't respond, and stuff like that. So now I know what you're going to, so you're going to do something different. And I think we can talk about it. What's
Yeah.
going to be different from last time to this time? So we're getting the
Yes. Yes.
applications. What's, yeah, tell us what's
So
different
so
this time.
applications are already piling up, and I remember the last time we were discussing this problem, and we discussed about we want to see if we can have a test of people who are key, who are most likely to take action. And the example you used, or when you're discussing, is when you're having your contact lenses, and the doctor, when you went to the doctor, and the doctor was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I want to check if you can qualify to get contacts," and he was like, "Can you touch your pupil?" And you touched it, and he's like, "You're good."
Yeah.
So I have been thinking hard. I don't want to give away the ideas that I'm thinking, but I'm looking at the applicants. I'm looking at their LinkedIn profiles, and I'm very keen to kind of devise one or two test, very simple test
Yes.
that kind of show these people are
Oh,
going to be committed, because
yeah.
yeah, it's we give it our best. We want people who are also going to give it their best.
Yeah. So folks, yeah, you might have kind of read it between the lines, but yeah, Robert is going to be speaking to folks. Is that am I like, I don't know, is that correct? So anybody
Yes,
who,
yes,
before we kind of officially admit them to the scholarship, you're going to make sure you talk to them.
yes.
Um,
Have a Yeah, we'll have a few minutes conversation. Yeah, a short meeting.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
Short meeting, again, it's yeah, we want to, yeah, that's different. Um, something that you said. So yeah, so Robert talked about taking action, and that is a mystery, my friends, which really intrigues me, because when we look at people who take action versus who don't, so let's use the consultant program as an example.
yeah,
I talk to a lot of people who say they want to be a consultant. They want that life of freedom. I want to leave my 9 to 5. I want to work on my own terms, work where I want, when I want, make a good amount of money, take care of myself, take care of my family, right? I mean, live life on my own terms. A lot of people have that in their heart, the desire, but very, very few take action. Now, if I ask the people who are not taking action,
yeah,
and say, hey, look at these folks, right? Look at Mike, look at Kimberly, look at Charles. What's different? They would say a lot of things like, oh, I'm an introvert,
yeah,
or I'm not as good as at tech yet, or I'm not good at sales. Now I know that we have had so many examples of each of those people who are introverted, right? But they do it their own way.
yeah,
People, and you don't have to be good at sales. We all use the technique sell without selling. That's how we
yeah,
approach it. And getting good at tech, we all have fears of going with a client and making a fool of ourselves, right? So the courage is not the absence of fears. People think that these things are going to be resolved, they're going to go away, poof. They'll
yeah,
say, when I'm not afraid of those things, right, then it's time for me to take action. But that's not true. Those people, they have the same fear, the same challenges, but they still take action.
yeah,
I don't have the answer yet, like what differentiates. But that is what Robert is talking about. Like, we don't know why, but we're going to pick up on that. We're going to say, are you the 2 to 3% that takes action in spite of the fear, or maybe because
yeah,
of the fear, who knows? And focus on those, focus on helping those. And that is
yeah,
our plan for our consultant program as well. And that is one of the reasons, and we'll talk more about LinkedIn. I'm energized on LinkedIn, but because LinkedIn, I want to start really sharing all the knowledge, the lessons so far, which has been restricted to our private coaching program. But I want to start sharing that with a wider audience, at least the beginning steps, and see who takes action. So yeah, that's going to be exciting. Um,
yeah.
uh, yeah.
Speaking of taking action, it's a really interesting. I would love to solve this puzzle, because I was just speaking to my wife, and as you know, Avi, and I don't know if most of the audience don't know this, but I'm learning sign language. I've been doing so for around 2 years now. We had a group of students who joined a class of sign language, and it's been like, what, 6 months now, and yeah, the distinction is clear. And I was asking her, she's an interpreter, what do you think makes some people, we have the same teachers, have the same opportunities, the instructions are nice, but some people, I feel I'm struggling a little bit. What do you think, despite having such great resources, uh, people are still struggling, and there are so many things we could think about, and one of them was like the one that I felt possibly could be true to me, is probably overthinking, or probably trying to
Mm,
overthink. The same case it goes to selling, but people, whenever you
yeah,
just let go and sell without selling, or just when it comes to sign language, just sign what you know, and without overthinking, you
yeah,
start making progress. So I'm really keen to seeing,
yeah. Oh,
and again, you talk of these in the land Power BI course, the 80/20 rule.
hmm,
There's a lot that we teach, but there are also of all the qualities that you need to be a good data analyst once you join this program, or to be really good at Power BI. There are few things, just a few, that really make a difference. And it would be good to explore to see what are those distinctions. And if you could attract such more of such kind of people, yeah, that would
yeah,
be really good.
yeah, yeah. And I'm excited. You probably heard me say this phrase. The more I got into Power BI, I realized it's more about people, and that applies to Power BI deployment and that sort of stuff. But I think the more I've gotten into business, it's like, man, you gotta understand people, understand psychology, understand their motivation. So
Yeah.
somebody asked me a really interesting question. So they heard me talking about my business. This was a close friend,
Yeah.
and Robert, they asked me a question which kind of surprised me. They said,
Mm-hmm.
"Are you a life coach?"
Ah.
And I'm like, "How did they get that idea?"
Yeah.
But then I thought about it, and I'm like, "I have to be a life coach."
Okay.
Because again, if I don't understand the psychology that's keeping somebody stuck from learning Power BI, the fear, the doubt that, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm not a techie, I can't do this is for techie, all that sort of stuff, or I need to spend hours and hours, I need to spend a lot of hours, I don't have that time, that's why I can't do this. If I don't understand where they're stuck, I can't get them unstuck. Same with the consultant program, right? If they're like, oh yeah, I mean, I can't do it because blah blah blah, right? I'm an introvert, I don't like selling, I don't want to sell, and blah, all of those things, I can't get them that. Yeah, so yeah, that was interesting. Cool. So folks, Robert has been the force behind reviving the Learned Power BI Scholarship. We ran it once a year, and that, I think, it might have been on a break for 2 years. But you heard from him. He is really active in his community. He's part of that sign language congregation, very active there. And I'm sure, if as we do more of these sessions, you will hear more of how he helps his community and people around him. And he's pivotal to the scholarship program being back. So great. All right. So we have some. Yeah, Kimberly, thanks for that support. Yeah, live coaching is part of it. And hey, we got some good questions from Noel and Craig. I'll try to probably. So Robert is based out of Kenya, so it's a little late for him. I might take the questions later on. And yeah, I want to make the best use of time while Robert is here. All right, so Robert, let's talk about LinkedIn. So you
Okay.
have noticed, and of course, you've been talking about it. I'm
Yeah.
more active on LinkedIn. I'll I'll admit that I'm still figuring it out. And part of it is the internal. For me, you know it, and folks who follow me know it. I always emphasize that. If the internal isn't sorted out, then you can take a lot of action externally and get very little or no results.
Yeah.
Mindset is one of those things where when we are stuck and frustrated, we or some when they're once we're going through something really challenging, we get laid off, uh, separating in a relationship, something else, some other tragedy, health tragedy, and then we need that. But it doesn't work that way. If you don't practice it every day, it's like a muscle. It's not going to be there if just because you need it one day. You need to lift a 50-pound boulder. Well, you wouldn't be able to. So it's been an internal journey, and I think the first thing was maybe similar to that scheming story. I've had a complicated relationship. That's a fair way to say it, with social media. And I think that's not just me. I think in this day and age, we all feel like, God, when is the algorithm manipulating you and what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's there. But what I feel is, man, I love people. And I mean, it's weird. I don't know if it's a side effect of me learning to love myself, but I've fallen so much in love with people. Um, I'll say I think I have had that talent, if you will. I could always see the good side of people, and I could always see their most powerful best selves, even when they couldn't see it. And
Yeah.
and this happens at work when I'm talking to Learn Power BI members, consultant program members, when I'm talking to friends. Like sometimes people would like tell me kind of a sob story, and they're like, "Oh yeah, this has happened and that happened. Oh, everything's bad." And I'm saying, "What are you talking about, man?
Yeah.
Look at the beauty in this, and look at the
Yeah.
courage you showed. Oh my god, right?"
Yeah.
And they'll go. So anyway, so yeah, man, I love people, and of course, one of my missions is maybe the main mission. I
Mm-hmm.
should pick my mission. I have a few, um, but one of them is to eradicate Monday blues, change that to Monday joy.
Yeah.
Because I live that life, and not every week, but I'll say most weeks were like that in my 15 plus years of corporate career. Started with the Monday blues, and really Monday blues started on Sunday evening, you know. So Sunday, you're like,
Like, oh,
ah, shit,
happening
I got,
again.
yeah, gotta get to work. And then Wednesday was the hump day. It was like, halfway there. And then Friday is TGIF. And now when I look back, it's like, what a sorry way to live your life. And imagine how many billions of people are living their lives that way. I want to change that, man. I want to change that. If I change it one person at a time, I don't care, right? Because I know every life that I change is then going to impact others. I mean,
Yeah.
I know how you talk to uh, your siblings and your family members and other stuff and friends, and of course, a lot of that you may not even realize. Maybe it's not a direct conversation. Who knows? So yeah, so I hope that I'll change one life. So that's one of my missions. So and from that perspective, I don't see a better platform than LinkedIn. So YouTube was, of course, my other big presence, and I guess I like video because of
Yeah.
its rawness, its authenticity.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me like, how do you get good at video? How do you make great good YouTube videos and blah blah and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah.
And I'm like, be yourself. That's the best advice.
Yeah.
I love that rawness. And of course, I do love live events. We do a lot of that because talk about raw. I mean, if you're doing a recorded video, yes, Carl helps us with the editing and all
Edit
that
here
stuff.
and
And
there. Yes.
yeah, all the flubs, he cuts it out. But this thing is raw. If I say something stupid, it's on me. And that's okay. If I end up crying, that's okay too.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, LinkedIn, the people are there, and it's authentic. YouTube, I get this weird handle like RUI 1329. I'm like, dude, who are you? I have no idea.
And I think the the way you can't really know who it is, it can encourage people to goof around. You'll see very
Yeah,
funny comments and very interesting things going around.
yeah. Yes. So online has this weird dynamic. So, by the way, folks who are thinking about using LinkedIn for networking, for getting clients, one of the best advice I can give you is that people start behaving exactly what Robert is saying. Is that they behave differently in online world than they do in real world.
Yeah.
Think about all the solicitation messages you get on LinkedIn. I get a ton of those, and they're
Ooh.
so shitty. And what I
Yeah.
always say is that if you walked up to somebody at a bar, at a conference, whatever, i- is that how you would initiate the conversation? You never would. Then why do we think it's okay to do that in online world?
No
So,
small talk. You just
oh
hand
yeah,
something. Yeah, I'm doing this,
yeah,
bro.
it's like yeah, like a page long. It's like, yeah, imagine, yeah, you're walking. I love that bar example, right? I mean, you walk up to a girl or a boy, right? I mean, somebody attractive, and then you start listing that, hey, I'm this, and these are the people I've dated. This is my portfolio. This is what they said about me. I can do really good stuff. You're gonna have a great time with me. Are you ready to head out? Like what? What are you doing, right? No, but So anyway, so coming back to LinkedIn, I feel that people are there, and there is this authenticity there, which is lost to when there are handles and all this stuff. Like, yep, you know, you
Yeah.
got a photo. And guys, please, there is no reason you should be on LinkedIn and not have a photo. I've come across some people and it's like, just put a photo. It's all right, you know. Yeah, be you. Just yeah. So
Do you think it's, yeah, what is it, that there is a huge part of the population that does not fully appreciate the potential of LinkedIn? I recently had a young person say that LinkedIn is the most useless platform, the social media platform they
yeah,
know. Uh, is it too
yeah.
serious? Is it? I don't know. I've been trying to figure out why
That's a
some
good
people.
point. Man, I love
Yeah,
sometimes I love hearing those counters because it
yeah,
challenges your notion, right? So
yeah,
right now I'm trying to process it. LinkedIn is the most useless platform. Um LinkedIn does have its challenges.
yeah,
So Robert, here's my theory, right? So
yeah.
LinkedIn, I'm like, and again, I mean, LinkedIn is not ideal by any means. I'm not saying that.
Oh, yeah,
Is
yeah.
the best option that I have. Like, what else is there? Like, Twitter has gone down the drains. Forget Twitter, God, X,
Sure.
whatever it is, right?
Yeah,
It's weird. I never felt comfortable on Twitter anyway. YouTube video, so video, I like video and so forth. So YouTube handle names doesn't work for me.
yeah,
Instagram, Facebook is just not my audience. We're not right. I mean, they're not in the mindset. I want to talk about work. I want to talk about Monday blues. I want to talk about
yeah,
life of freedom. I want to talk about taking control of your life. And I guess you can still do it. I'm not sure. Maybe you have to see what feels like a fit energetically with you as well. So
okay.
Instagram, even TikTok, Facebook, I've tried it a bit. But anyway, so yeah, so it's my favorite one right now. But what is the challenge on LinkedIn?
Mm-hmm.
The challenge that I see is that people use it, think of it like an ATM.
Okay.
So if I look back to my corporate life, and if you charted my graph of activity on LinkedIn,
Yes.
this is how what you would see, right? You
Yeah.
would see like a spike, and
Yeah.
then flat, like dead flat, and then a spike.
Yeah.
Can you
So
guess
what's
when
the
the spike was happening?
when you get laid off?
When I get laid off, when I want a new job, right?
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
like, man, you know, it's not like an ATM,
Yeah.
but that's how most people are showing up there. So, and I was there. So every 3 years typically is when I look for a job. And man, it- so there's no energy balance. We're trying
Yeah.
to take from LinkedIn. So again, we talk about no scheming. Think about it. I mean, I was definitely scheming, right? So I was showing up on LinkedIn only when I wanted something for me.
Yeah.
So then you hear this BS, which is like, yeah, I tried LinkedIn, it didn't work because you
Mm-hmm.
probably tried to use it like I was using. And again, forget about the external world. Think about from energy perspective.
Yes.
And anything, think about relationships. So sometimes that's a great analogy. Think about if that's how you acted in a relationship.
Yeah.
You only showed up to take.
Yeah.
I want this, and then disappeared. Man, that relationship is not gonna last at all. It's just gonna be a dysfunctional relationship.
Yeah.
And I think that is one challenge, and I want to change that. So the way I want to operate is come to give, come to give,
Mm.
and don't like disappear. Keep it going. Be a little consistent. Again, think about like a relationship. If I'm
Yeah.
invested in, uh, well, I have a lot of cousins. My mom's side is a big family, and well, with some relationships, yeah, they have fallen off as I moved to US and this that. But some of them, I call them, and sometimes it's a month, sometimes it's 2 months, but I still
Yeah.
call them and we catch up.
Yeah.
Same thing with LinkedIn, right? And of course, I'm not calling them because I need something. That would be so
Yeah.
weird. Then why do we act? So again, that we don't act that way in the real world. Why do we start acting like that in the online world? Why do we think suddenly it's okay? It's
Mm.
not okay. So and I think that may be one of the reasons that it's not doesn't feel as healthy at times.
Okay.
But I think we can be the change. Like let's be the change we want to see in the world. Mahatma Gandhi, of
So
course.
I,
And
I like your
yeah.
analogy of coming to give. So what are you sharing knowledge? Are you
Oh,
asking questions?
oh,
What
it's
exactly am I
brilliant.
offering if I'm not?
Yes.
And I guess that's a common questions because people will see. Some people are really, really good at writing something that is not provoking. And what I've
Mm.
seen with other people, it's a copy and paste from
Oh,
ChatGPT. And
yeah.
once I see funny, funny icons, and there's a way you can just see this is ChatGPT. Um,
Yes.
and I'm a victim of doing that once. I think I once, sometime last year, I sent so many LinkedIn messages, and then in one of the messages I forgot. I had asked ChatGPT make it shorter, and that was also copied there. So, what should you give on LinkedIn?
That's a good point. So there are two things there. ChatGPT is a whole thing, So we'll save that. Hopefully, we'll have time to talk about that. But the first part is that what knowledge do I share? And I think
Yeah.
that's not perhaps the best lens to look at. So
Okay.
somebody sent me a message one day. They are an incredible member of a Learn Power BI program. They have been getting incredible results, really helping the business. But they
Yeah.
sent me a message saying, Avi, I did my first LinkedIn post
Ooh. Okay.
because I couldn't think of something unique that I could share that hadn't been shared before, said before. But I did this thing and I hadn't seen it earlier, so I shared it. And of course, that's commendable, but a little heartbreaking. That's like people come to me and it's like, hey, Avi, we spent the last year and maybe $100 million building the data warehouse, and now we're ready for Power BI. Help us with Power BI.
Yeah.
And I say, you were ready a year ago. You didn't
Mm.
need to do all that. So, right. So, and that is the heartbreaking part with this post, that we feel like we need to be kind of at the top of a pyramid, if not the pyramid. If we need to be the expert or get really good at something, really smart, before we post and share our knowledge, right?
Yeah.
I say a different lens is far more helpful to you and to others.
Okay.
The different lens is share your journey.
Ooh.
Share your
Wow.
journey. And man, and of course, I want to eat my own dog food. So I've been sharing my journey with the learn AI with Avi. Man, I started at zero.
Yes.
Anybody can
Yes.
do that. So
Yeah.
yeah, whatever is going, you start with Power. You discover Power BI today.
Yes.
I want you to go on LinkedIn and post about it. It's like, hey, folks, I know I'm late to the game. And again, be authentic. I mean, like
Yes.
that's you're
Yes.
probably feeling that inside anyway. So I always say,
Yeah.
right, don't try to pose or be or become or whatever bullshit Power BI expert.
Yeah.
Be a Power BI enthusiast. And
Yeah.
that can apply to anything, right? So it can be Power
Yeah.
BI, it could be something else that you're doing. Craig Ruachi, he does career coaching. Right?
Yeah.
So, so the day you discover Power BI, you go, whoa, folks, I know I'm late to the game, but I'm glad I'm here. And I'm
Yes. Yes.
really excited to get started. Um, this is what excites me about Power BI. I have this report which takes me 2 hours to update, and that's the first one I'm going to be working on. Just whatever,
Wow.
wherever you are right now, that is where I am right now, and I'll share that. And of
Wow,
course,
I love that.
Mhm.
And that solves even the scheming problem where you have to think, I need it to sound this way so that a potential employer can see me this way or people can look at me.
I know,
I
yeah,
feel that that relieves you of so much burden.
yes,
This is what I know, this is what I've learned. I'm
yes.
excited to share. Oof,
Now,
I
yeah,
like
now,
that.
yeah, now that does take courage. And yeah, man, people say like we were talking about how this entrepreneurship path is hard. It's
Yes.
freaking hard because
Yeah.
what this is vulnerability. But I am so glad that it's 2024 right now. Man, I had to look at my clock just to make sure I got the year right. But yeah, it's just 2024. But
Yeah.
man, what a beautiful time to be in, because vulnerability is not a dirty word anymore. We have had people like Brene Brown, TED speaker, best-selling author, talk about vulnerability is strength.
Okay.
But embracing that strength is
No, it's
hard. So
yeah.
yes, people are going to hear the same message, but again,
Yeah.
it's always those 2 to 3% who are taking action. There's 97% would nod their heads. They would say, "Oh yeah, he said such a great thing. That made sense." Zero action.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. We don't have to solve that mystery today. But yeah, so that's what it takes. You share your journey. It works. So, but the
Yeah.
vulnerability piece is they're going to say, oh, but how am I going to look in front of an employer?
Yeah.
And and well, I mean, if you want to live in that fear, you can. But the short version is that it's going to help you, if anything. And man, I
Yeah.
really need to find and like bookmark that Simon Sinek video where he talked about how a client hired him after he
Yes.
said he said that, oh, I don't know how to do this.
So
Yeah.
just to be clear, because sometimes I think, um, yeah, we deal a lot with consultants. Now, if I'm sharing my journey, and I for a moment you actually mentioned something, and I thought we were only talking about consultancy, and I was like, if somebody wants to get hired, and they are posting their journey and the things that they're learning, are
Mm.
they expecting to get an inbox from a potential employer? What is the end goal
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
What do you think? I
Yeah,
mean,
man,
yeah,
that's a great point, and I'm still learning that.
yeah,
Um, and yeah, I would, and yeah, man, so there's the famous George Washington quote, which said, "Hey, apologies for the long letter.
yeah,
I didn't have time to write a short one." It's easy to be lengthy.
yeah,
Our consultant program is an year long right now.
yeah.
Does it need to be? I don't know. You know that we're pushing the envelope on that. We
Yes,
just
yes,
launched at the starting of June. We launched kind of a workshop with some of our members who are in a spot where they're ready to take action. Find a client in 60 days.
yeah,
Find a client in 60 days. So yeah, man. So there is a longer answer of that I have,
yeah,
but I'm not sure what short answer I can offer. What I'll say is that um, there's an analogy that I like, which is sometimes when we are thinking about a path,
yeah.
think about like a going on a road trip.
Mm-hmm.
Portland is a few hours away from here, so I'm like, yeah, go to Portland. It's beautiful. Northwest is beautiful anyway. Got a lot of waterfalls. They got a rose
Yeah,
garden. Just that beautiful place. Planning a road trip, but then I'm sitting in my car and I'm like, oh, let me wait for all the traffic lights to turn green. Then I'll go.
yeah, yeah,
And that is a problem. So, what I would say to that is that you don't wait for all the traffic lights to turn green. So, people think it's like, I wanted to have it all figured out. Like,
yes,
oh, I post this that I'm
yes,
on Power BI to the point where somebody hires me for Power BI. And I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah,
doesn't work that well that way, right? You're going to be
yeah,
stuck forever. So I'll say take that first step. Again, Power BI is agile BI. Hopefully everybody has wrapped their head around that. And
yeah,
life is agile as well. Business is agile as well. It's about peeling the onion. You don't have to figure it all out. So the answer is there. There are specific things you do to earn money. And you should be,
yes,
right? So of course, we talked about scheming, but there is a different way to show up. For me, people talk about selling, and some people, a lot of people selling, they often the first thing that comes up in people's mind for selling is that used car salesman. There's a lot
yeah,
of negative
yes,
connotations around selling. For one,
yeah,
think about what is the highest peak, the epitome of selling. The phrase that's used is, oh, some who's supposedly good at sales, they say he can sell a refrigerator to an Eskimo.
yeah,
How shitty is that? How bad is that?
yes,
That is the world we live in. But that is just a lens. And again, the lens we talked about, the lens of the, oh, how do I share my knowledge? And if I give you a different lens, man, your life changes. I gave you a different
yeah,
lens. No, share your journey. The same way, the lens that the whole world looks at it selling is that shitty thing. It's like, oh, you got to
yeah,
sell a refrigerator to an Eskimo, as if that's a good thing. No, that's horrible.
yeah,
The lens that was given to me, that was such a gift by my coaches, is selling is serving.
yeah,
So, yeah, so I am going to be selling, but yeah, slightly differently. So, of course, you've heard me like, I mean, sell without selling, ask without asking. So, but that is a longer answer. I don't have a short answer for that yet. But what I would say
Okay.
is that don't feel like you have to have it figured out. Start sharing your journey.
Okay.
So yeah, LinkedIn, get active. But yeah, so we're talking about LinkedIn, not ideal. People often show with the energy of their stake, show with an energy of give. And the best thing you can give is just share your journey. Now, let's
Mm,
talk about the benefits of that for others, not for you. It's going to
yeah.
obviously, if you help others, man, I mean, you're going to be helped. There's no doubt about that. What I've seen is that people who are supposedly at the top, when they share,
Yeah.
it's often not relatable.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Yes.
so
Yes.
it's like somebody when a it's often in class. Think about schools. When a teacher explains something and
Yeah.
you don't get it, but your
Yeah.
friend is sitting next to you and he nudges
Yeah.
you and it's like, yeah, man, I see what you're struggling with, dude. I had the same problem. let
Yeah.
me let me show you. And
Yeah. And
that
the teacher will
works.
ask, "Do you all understand?" You'll all nod your head. Yes. 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 We do it. But
Yeah,
he
yeah. But
starts
like, oh
whispering.
shit, yeah. I mean, what was that, right? So, because the challenge is the professor knows it inside out. It is what I call the
Yeah.
curse of knowledge. And easiest demonstrated. I want to keep an eye on time. I want to keep it forever, but easily demonstrated in the game of dumb charades. I love that game. I think I do.
Hmm.
Yeah, we don't play that much, but yeah, I love that game. But I love the psychology of that game because you
Yeah.
would be like this, and they would say mountain, and you would say, "How stupid are you? That's I'm doing a house. Can't get it." That is the curse of knowledge. If it's obvious to you, you think it's obvious to everybody. So
Yeah.
professors are stuck with that, and they're teaching something that they mastered a long time ago. They've forgotten how they struggled with it. So yeah, they give their version. The person sitting next to you just figured it out, and the struggle is very recent in their mind. They know exactly the pain, the confusion. Now take that and apply that to anything else. Power BI,
Yeah.
take that to the consulting path and so forth, right? And that's why sometimes you listen to these gurus and they give you the shittiest of advice, right? For example, the classic one is, "Oh, just work hard. Oh, look at me. I worked so hard and I made it." I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? Huh? What about the thousands of other people who worked twice as hard as you and didn't get anywhere? Right? So yeah, man. So there's value in sharing a journey as you go along because it's going to
Sure.
be more relatable, more approachable, more relevant. Ooh, I love threes. I love three. Relatable, approachable, relevant. If you wait too long, you're not going to
Yeah.
be that relatable. It's not going to be as relevant. And of course, you've heard me that the pyramid analogy, right? Uh,
Yes.
so if you're everybody's focused on getting to the top of the pyramid,
Yeah.
but if we turn around and look down and try to help the people who are just a few steps below, we can do that. And that's what you do when you share your journey.
Okay.
When you share your first post, I discovered Power BI. Who are you
Yeah.
helping then?
All the people who've not discovered Power BI, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And again,
Yeah.
I always see the lens that, hey, if I can help one person in the world, then it's my
Yeah.
mission, it's my life's purpose to find them and help them.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can, yeah, if there is one person who sees a post and goes, whoa, or maybe they've heard about Power BI but never stepped into it and it gives them that
Yeah.
inspiration,
Yeah.
man, I mean, that's incredible. So yeah, sharing a journey is a great way. So LinkedIn, to kind of wrap it up in the last 5 minutes, we'll probably say goodbye to Robert. Let me see. Yes, close 9 for you. But and then I'll stick around for the Q&A. But to wrap things up for LinkedIn, it is my favorite platform right now. I'm feeling good energy here. Oddly, LinkedIn is not that much video focused, so that I'm gonna experiment. That
Yeah.
I might do is a mix of text posts and video posts and see what works because of course I want to match kind of what the audience is. Probably always
Sure.
keep doing videos and hopefully we'll do more of the live ones. I don't know, maybe even make it more interactive. Maybe even have people that they can kind of join this call and have be in the same online studio with us and so forth.
Yeah.
I got questions from Julie, Anthony, or questions or comments. So folks, yeah, I'll stick around, go through those. So yeah, I think LinkedIn is a good platform, but there's got to be an energy balance. If you're showing up on LinkedIn with the energy of take, 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 it's like, oh, Avi, I tried LinkedIn and I couldn't find a job. It didn't work. Didn't work for me. It's like
Yes,
the
yes.
energy is just completely wrong. So you showed up in a relationship and it's like take, 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 and like, yeah, the person ditched me, they dumped me. I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, they were right. I would have dumped you. So start with the energy of give, and I think you're gonna get so much. All right.
Okay.
All right, Robert. Hey, it's been a blast. I'll let you go. I'll stick around for the questions, but I have a
Okay.
feeling we might do it again.
Yes,
I'll
yes,
check
I
back.
really enjoy it. Yeah, and learned quite a bit. Yeah, so many things I want to start my journey with and share.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah,
Awesome. Man.
yeah.
All right.
Okay,
All right, Robert.
okay.
Take care.
Take care. Okay, bye.
All right, folks. So let's go with the questions, and let's go back. Da da da. Let's go to this was Craig's question. There we go. I think I got it right. So Craig helps people with career coaching. He has had an illustrious career in Microsoft and other companies, and now he's turned around and helping others. By the way, that is a great recipe for a freedompreneur. The line that we use is you teach what you had to learn. So Craig obviously had to figure a lot of these things out for himself, and a lot of things he learned the hard way. But now it's his mission to make it easier for others. Same as my mission is like, man, when I left my job in Microsoft, it sucked so bad. You've heard my stories. I burned through all my savings, couldn't buy milk and eggs for my family, felt terribly guilty and stupid. And I came inches from just crawling back on my hands and knees to my job, right? So that's what we do. So that's Craig. Let's see. So Craig is asking any tips on growing a consulting business during the first year? In addition to meeting with people, forming lasting relationships, posting content on a regular basis, etc., what worked for you? And yeah, I mean, when you read that, it feels like a lot. Like, oh my god, yeah, I gotta meet people. I gotta work on relationship, post content, and have all these things. Let me break it down. So, first thing that I would say, so Craig has already transitioned. I think he's left his full time job and he's focused on his business now. First piece of advice, though, what I'll share with others is that do not leave your job cold turkey. Build a side business. Build it on the side, which is of course not what I did, but man, it was really painful. And I don't think you have to go through that financial emotional pain that I went through. So my advice is build it on the side. And generally, once you hit 50% of your income, for most people, that is a good time to make the switch. Why? Because at that point, you can see a trajectory. So you can say, oh, hey, working on this side as a side business, in 6 months, I got to 50% of my income. If I go full time, I can quickly match my full time income. That's one. And the other reason is that for most people, if you are um, uh, savvy with your finances, your expenses shouldn't be more than 50% of income. So if your side business can match 50% of your income, that means your bills are going to be paid. That's a mistake I made. I left my job cold turkey, didn't have money to pay the bills, burned through all my savings, and then I couldn't buy milk and eggs. Oh, God. Oh, oh, man, that was a hard time. So stupid. It's just hard. And so, yeah, build it on the side. So starting out, the first mistake and the biggest mistake people make is they think that they're building a company, they're building a business. So hey, Craig, this may not apply directly to you because you're a few steps ahead, but I just wanted to make sure I give the right advice to everybody. So that is the first and the biggest mistake people make. They think they're building a business and they start operating like that. For example, stupid things like building a website. I've heard people of pay others to build a website. They start ad campaigns and they print business cards and logos. When you're starting out, you only have one goal: find your first client. Now that is tricky. That's easier said than done because the lens with which you look at, like I would talk to people who are in my consultant program and they'll tell me everything they're doing, and I'm like, a lot of that is like a business. Like they're not thinking about it that way. I'm like, is that the shortest path to finding a client? No, it's not. Yeah, you're doing a lot of fluff. Cut out the fluff, cut out the BS, look at what you're doing. And it's like, is this the shortest path to a client? Just do those, focus those. So let all that drop away. Let's say you're beyond that point. So usually what I say is, so I think of it in phases. Phase one is when you're looking to get your first and your second client. Phase one is good. If you complete phase one, that's awesome, because what I see people at the end of phase one is they go through this magical transformation inside. They say, Avi, oh, this is amazing. I know I can help people and I can get paid for it. Now, of course, I had no doubt about that. I'm talking about my consultant program members, but now they believe, and that's big. Well, that's phase one. Phase two is building a steady stream of clients. We'll talk about that. There is a phase three, disconnect time and money. We wouldn't talk about that today. So Craig is, I would say, is he's in phase two, which is build a steady stream of clients. Like, yep, I can help others, I can get paid for it, but how do I kind of build that? That one, and again, I'll be completely honest, I'm still learning, but recently one of my coaches introduced the simple term flywheel. And again, guys, lens, we've talked about lenses twice in this call already. Lenses are mind blowing because you get a different lens and everything changes. So flywheel, I'll have to look up the, like, I don't know what the official definition is, but what I know, when I think flywheel, I think of that big disc kind of a wheel that is there in a bicycle, um, right? Often in a stationary bicycle, right? Spinning classes and so forth. And I know how it behaves. We have one from Costco. I sometimes hop on it. Mostly it has clothes hanging off of it. I don't know why that's a destiny of uh, uh, cycles who are stationary bicycles at home. Why do they end up with clothes on them? Anyway, so, but I do know how it acts. It's hard to get it in motion, but once it's spinning, it's very easy to keep that momentum. That is what we're looking for. That is what we're looking for. You want to build a flywheel. And then we talk about this balance of working in your business versus working on your business. And that is a big mistake that I made sometimes in my consulting career, and I see others making, is that they get so focused working in their business, serving the clients. And this is when money is pouring in. So you're like, clients, money, bring it on. Yes, lots of money. That they forget about the flywheel. And then, of course, things change. And then, like, oh shit, I need to find a new client. Something happened. COVID happened. Who knows, right? And that is the hard part in the consulting entrepreneurship, folks. So, yeah, I mean, people mistake. They think it's hard work. It's not hard work. It's things like this. What I say is you don't have to leave the 9 to 5. You have to leave the 9 to 5 mindset. So, um, yeah, I mean, you can't get so immersed working in your business that you're not working on your business. It's just a reminder. So you gotta, so first, your first job is get the flywheel going. That's gonna start spitting out clients for you. Then your next job is to make sure the flywheel keeps going. It doesn't stop. You can't have it stop, even when you're really focused on your clients. And again, month or two is fine, but don't like disappear, and see if you can trickle something in the flywheel. That way it keeps spinning. Now it is going to ebb and flow. There's always going to be ebb and flow in a business. So sometimes I'm working more in my business. I'm really focused on serving my clients, and that's okay. Sometimes things get busy and I'm doing very little on my business, but keep that a little bit going. So the flywheel is the key. That is really powerful. And I'm still figuring it out. So of course, as I was talking to Robert earlier, is that for some of these things, folks, I have like a long answer. Like if we spend a weekend together, I could or do the Vulcan mind meld, and I could say everything. I don't have short answers for some of these, and I'm working on that because I think they could be short answer. But I can give you kind of the first step. The first step of the flywheel is social posting, sharing your journey, which we have already talked about, right? So, and again, One post a month, good, because that is better than probably 95% of people on the LinkedIn platform. One post in a month, good, right? And again, you're sharing a journey. We already talked about that. One post a week, ooh, that's nice, right? So if you can, kind of one post a week. So I'll just say the first step. Now the next step, I wouldn't go into the detail because I want to get to other questions too. Is it's so I'm going to kind of contradict myself now. What people fail to realize that the money in LinkedIn is not from the social posts. That's not where your clients are gonna come from. Or at least if that's the only thing you do, you're leaving a lot on the table. The money is in the inbox. The money is in the private messages. So focus on that. So those are the two things that I'll say. So Craig, hopefully that helps. And again, I'll keep sharing this. I talked to Robert. I'm on a quest to essentially share, I don't know, maybe everything or a lot of stuff that I had held only for the private coaching group. But I wanna just try something different. I mean, yeah. So I'll be sharing it. I'll keep sharing it on LinkedIn as we go more. All right, great. Let's look at Noel's question. How would you phrase an initial cold call to find the right person to speak to? Now, man, that's a challenging question for me, for one, because I do not believe in cold calling. I even get really queasy thinking about the idea of having a cold conversation with anybody, a phone call, even a LinkedIn message. I think it's hard. Now, I know Noel has a specific challenge where he may have to use that. What I'll say is that see if you can do everything you can to turn them into a warm audience first. And maybe the answer is the same for you, Noel, which is let the step one be that you start kind of posting, start social posting, and 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 maybe if people start seeing your posts, so your posts do get seen by people who don't know you, who are not directly connected with you. So that could be one. But so again, I don't believe as much as your warm contacts are so much more valuable than your cold contacts. Now, by the way, folks, I should warn you there that uh, do not go asking your warm contacts for referrals. I'm not going to go into that too much, but I was talking to somebody in a LinkedIn conversation, and they were saying, "Yeah, I burned through all my warm contacts. Like I've asked everybody for referrals," and I'm like, "Ouch! You don't want to be asking them for referrals. If you want more on that, just send me a private message, and we use this approach where you ask without asking, which is in line with how we sell without selling. We don't have the hard sell. So you have to ask without asking, and that works even better because instead of asking for referrals is kind of shitty anyway. You feel queasy, they feel uncomfortable, and then it doesn't even work. I mean, right, people say like, yeah, I'll keep you in mind, and then nothing happens, right? Or very rarely. But what if you turn them into your torchbearers, where they were invested in furthering your cause? Now that is a bit of a delicate. There is art there, and I wouldn't go into that right now. Anyway, so warm contacts, awesome, but you got to use it the right way. Do not burn your warm contacts by going around asking for work and referrals. Don't do that. Let's come back to Noel's question: cold contacts. If I were to do it, this is what I would do it. Let's say I'm focused on sales, and I have been working actually with sales teams, and I've become fascinated by it. I thought that sales targets were simple, like you set a target, and then every salesperson has a target. but I have worked with a few teams now, and they each do it differently. The way the targets are set, the tiers are set, and sometimes they have individual goals and group goals, and there are so many variations. It's almost like the Power BI calendar table. Every business kind of has its own. So so yeah, so I've been having fun with that. Let's say I wanted to reach people around that. You can just do a search in LinkedIn, sales manager, something like that. So of course, first you gotta have your niche in mind. This is the niche that I'm targeting. Niche is important. If you don't know who you're talking to, how do you know what to say? So the example that I use is, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Did I quote it right? I think that's from Oliver Twist, right? One of those novels. That is an opening line of Oliver Twist, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then there is Once Upon a Time. That is a classic fairy tale starting. Now, Oliver Twist, that one is is pretty much for a more sophisticated audience. Once Upon a Time, that's a starting for a kid's bedtime story. If you don't know your audience, you could be saying the wrong thing, right? Do a sophisticated audience say, "Oh, Once Upon a Time," and they'll be tuned out already. Like, oh God, it's a bedtime story for kids. You got to know who you're talking to. So know your audience, know your niche. Sales for me, sales manager, maybe sales manager. I'll have to research more. And again, you can ask ChatGPT. It's like, hey, I'm looking for these people and stuff. And usually I like going for the decision maker, right? So not the person who I might work with, but the person who would hire me. So maybe it's going to be a CEO of a small company. I don't know, right? So maybe that's the ones I target. But I have that in mind, and then I'll reach out to them with like a gentle message. So I'll send them a connection request, and be authentic. Be totally authentic. Don't have to pose like an expert. You can be an enthusiast. That's much easier. That comes across as more genuine anyway. And I'll say something like that. Hey, I've been working with sales teams using Power BI and really enjoying that. And I've actually kind of become fascinated by how sales teams work and so forth. So I'm looking to connect with leaders in this area. Would love to connect with you. Something like this. Now, there are two things here. One is that from what I said, do not take that as a script. Scripts don't work that well. What I want you to take from that is the energy with which I said. That is everything. How you are being internally, that defines your results. Because if that is sorted out, then your external action is always going to be in line. You know, you know what people say is that they say something mean and they say, "Oh, I didn't mean to say that." Well, that's not quite true. It was there. Some part of you was hurt, was offended, something, and that's why you said that mean thing to me. That's why you swore at me or something, right? So if the inside is sorted out, the outside will automatically align. So don't take like the script. Oh, Avi said this, let me type it up and all that. You can if you want. But what's more important is the energy. So approach with the energy with which I said. It was an energy of, I love people. I love connecting with people. I'm genuinely curious. I genuinely would love to connect with them and hopefully get a chance to talk to them or learn more about them. Approach with that energy. So sort the energy inside and then send these out. Now, LinkedIn, that's another reason why I like this platform, is that a lot of people are open to connecting. They're here for networking. Everybody knows that, right? Facebook, if I get like a friend request from somebody I don't know, I'm like, I don't know, who are they? But LinkedIn, most people, so the connection acceptance rate is higher. Now, if you want to kick it up a notch, you can think about Sales Navigator. Now, I'll admit, I haven't yet used Sales Navigator. I think I've signed up for trial once in a while here and there. You can sign up for a month-long trial. LinkedIn Sales Navigator, exact same approach, but the sophistication is going to give you in the search. You would have more flexibility in searching. And there is just one option in there in Sales Navigator, which I think is worth the investment, maybe worth the investment. There's an option to say search sales managers in US or something like that. Oh, by the way, yeah, Noel's focuses on healthcare. So, I mean, for your example, like healthcare, whatever, who think about the decision maker role, CEOs, managers, something. Yeah. So have a title in mind. But the one option that I've always found alluring is you can say only show me results of people who are active on LinkedIn. that could save you so much time and effort, because otherwise you would be, yeah, you contact like 20 people, but then you look at the profiles like, man, they don't even show up on LinkedIn. What's the point? So yeah, you found like your ideal client and being so you can consider that. You don't have to start that way. And again, you can start with a trial if you want. You can just start with a regular one. Having said all that, I'll reiterate what I said earlier. Your warm contacts are so much more valuable. All right, that's good stuff. Let's see. So Julie shared. It's hard to find time to be active and contribute on LinkedIn when working full time, especially if you're busy delivering. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, so earlier maybe I went overboard. Maybe I'd forgotten about my life, how it used to be. Yeah, and it was so hard. So I was known as the sleeping bag dad. I would show up and at my son's swim meets and with my sleeping bag, and I would sleep in between his races. Yeah, and it was exhausting. It was exhausting. I do remember that feeling of just like you were drained. You were just running from one week to the next. And is there any surprise that I was suffering with Monday blues and then appreciating Fridays? So that's a good point. That's a fair point. Actually, yeah. So yeah, good point there. But I'm not really sure. Again, let's bring in relationships for an example. So I was talking to my coach, and we were talking about. So of course, mostly I talk about business, but we also talk about life sometimes. And I was talking about I want to do dishes at home, but I'm not very consistent, and that has come up once in a while between my wife and I. And my coach said something really interesting. And he said, and again, for now, forget about LinkedIn, just think about relationships. So I think I brought up the word commitment, and maybe my coach asked me, like, what is commitment for you? And then I talked about something and blah, blah, blah. And then he said something which again gave me a lens. And I'm like, whoa, lenses are great, right? Lenses are great. The lens he offered me was, he said, commitment means you doesn't mean that you only do it when it's convenient for you. And again, for now, just think about relationships. And man, I mean, am I the ideal husband now? I'm working on it. But that was a powerful lens. So sometimes it has happened where I was tired. I was done. I was just done. I just like, day's over, man. I mean, I just want to go back, get my Kindle, read a book, get in bed. But I saw the dishes in the sink and I put them away. So yeah, it's sometimes going to be that. But I think that is what it takes. So that's one lens. I'll offer you another one, which is this. So when I talk about this life of freedom, and I always hesitate when I talk about that because I don't know. I mean, I know that it might sound cheesy to some people, but I use the phrase that it's not about leaving the 9 to 5, it's about leaving the 9 to 5 mindset. And it wasn't, why was I not in control of my life earlier? And now I have a lot more control over my life. Is it because I had a 9 to 5 job earlier and now I work for myself? That's not true. There are countless people who run their own businesses who are essentially become an employee in their own company, right? Their lives are not that much different and you face the same risk, right? So that's not it. There's something else. And that is, I'll repeat the line what I had said earlier. Right, again, it's not about leaving the 9 to 5, leaving the 9 to 5 mindset. And the mindset that I want you to start thinking about is that there is working in your job and working on your career. The same way there is working in your business and working on your business. When you stay so focused in working in your job, you wear that hard work badge and man, I'm working so hard that you forget to work on your career, you're doing yourself a disservice. When you get so focused working in your business that you don't have time to work on your business, you're doing yourself a disservice. Now, in a way, business is easier because you see the results, much quicker, or when things go wrong or right. In a job, you can be caught blindsided. As I was, I've gone through layoffs and all that stuff, and I've seen others go through that. So yeah, so you can be so focused on your job and working hard, and guess what, guys? It's not like the protection charm or anything. It doesn't give you anything in this day and age. It gives you almost zero protection. If they're going to be layoffs, they're going to be layoffs, and then you're going to be gone. And so I was talking about mindset, how it's like a muscle, and people seek it out. I was like that. That was the start of my journey. I was at a very desperate point when I was like, oh, I got a peace, please. I want peace. I want joy. I want balance. But it doesn't work like that. So if you go through that, and Julie, I don't know. I mean, I don't know your specific situation, but I've gone through that. And I know I have heard a lot of stories who go through that. And I think everybody is susceptible to that. That can happen to you, that your life can change like that. Things change. COVID, I mean, it's no better example than COVID. So many lives are suddenly impacted. But hey, forget about COVID. I mean, corporate America has been like that for a long time. They are heartless. Most of them, not all of them, but most companies, they wouldn't think twice. So it's up to us to take control of our career and our lives. It's your choice. You can stay busy working in your job or work on your career. You can stay busy working in your business or work on your business. So one of the first things that one of my favorite coaches taught me was the idea of accountability, ownership. And I do have this tendency of kind of playing the victim. I played victim a lot of times. Like, for example, when I was laid off, it was like, you point your finger at them. That's what the victim mode is like. Oh, how could they do this to me? How could this happen to me? But and I'll admit, I'm still working on this concept of accountability. But I would just repeat what my coaches say, or try my best to say it. But the way they say it is that you are responsible for everything in your life. Your life is a reflection of you. Now, that is sometimes a hard pill to swallow. And I don't know, I can't say if it applies in every case, but I have begun to appreciate that, see a glimpse of that, of things that I would often blame others, point at others, play the victim, and say, oh, they did this to me. And I'm like, what, who was I being that I attracted that in my life? All right. So we're getting a little bit meta, but yeah, so fair point, Julie, but I'll say, and again, if you post once a month, so again, that's the thing, right? Come on, guys. I mean, give me a break, right? I mean, you're telling me you're so busy, you don't have time to post once a month. Posting once a month would put you 95 ahead of 95% of those folks. To start there. All right, folks. Let's say, ooh, this is a good one. Ooh, wow. Here's a long comment. Da, da, da. Scheming. Yeah, man. Scheming. Yeah, if you, I don't know what to say about that. I'm processing it. It's powerful. Take what you see fit. I'll say about everything that I said. Mm, put it through your own lens. Put it through your own filter, right? I'd say, hey, yeah, I mean, does it work for me? If you like some part, take it. If you want to experiment with some part, take that and go with that. So let's see. All right, I'll come back to it. I think he was making a comment. Let's say, da, 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 let's see something else. Carlos, what does Carlos say? Oh, okay, this is a good one. I love that. So Carlos is asking, oh, you know what? Let me make sure I don't have, okay, I don't have any meetings. Would you recommend Fiverr R or similar to a data analytics consultant? So I am not a huge fan of Upwork and Fiverr R. If we were to meet over coffee, I'll tell you to stay as far away from it as possible. All right. So that's what I would say. Can I say that online here right now? Maybe. I'm a little hesitant because it might be a bit controversial. But yeah, man, Upwork and Fiverr are hard. And I think, and I'll tell you why I feel that way. And again, you can put it through your own lens and see if that makes sense. Think about your new on Upwork or Fiverr. I show up, obviously, right? Now, how do people now? I have hired people on Fiverr or Upwork. I've used that. Yeah, great resource, great site, right? But it's a marketplace. It's like Amazon. Actually, you know what? Let's use that. So Amazon, I was searching for a phone case. So I hike quite a bit. So I like having a really sturdy case. And sometimes my kids joke about this. Like, obviously the new phones are very sleek. This one is an S23, and it looks so bulky and stuff. But hey, I like a big case. I wanted to survive if I drop it while hiking and stuff. So I searched on Amazon. There were quite a few pretty similar, pretty similar in features. And yeah, I looked at the reviews, 5-star reviews, number of reviews. Oh, and then if those two were similar, then I bought the one with the lower price. It's a marketplace. That's how it operates. Ratings, 4.5, something like that. Number of ratings, and then money. That's how a marketplace works. That's how Fiverr or Upwork works. So if you're starting out, it makes it really hard for you because now I'm competing with people. When there's somebody search for Power BI, there, there are lots of people. So as long as you're willing to work with somebody outside of the US, and yeah, there's some companies who want to work with people in the US, and then you can have higher rates. But in US, what I've seen is you can find somebody really good with a lot of reviews, really good star rating, and so forth for a $50. You can find that. Right, that's not an issue. And if you're willing to look international, you can even find people around $10. But if you're new, so again, people are looking at the number of reviews, star rating, and the price. Maybe not in that order, but you can't compete with the star rating. You don't have the reviews. You're not established on the platform. You don't have those numbers. Like the dollar earned and that sort of stuff is just going to be zero for you. So what does that leave for you? What can you compete on? The price. That's a shitty game to play, man. I just don't want to operate that way. I think that's shortchanging yourself. So I've heard stories of people who start on a Fiverr and Upwork and stuff. Yeah, and it's kind of you have to crawl through the bottom, through the gutter to kind of rise up. Yeah, I mean, you have to initially work for less money than you think you're worth, work really hard, over deliver to clients just to make sure they give you a good rating till you can at some point build up good stars and ratings. And yes, then it works. Now, here's the other challenge with these platforms. Um, if you have heard of the gaming platforms, DraftKings is one. Not gaming, betting platforms. DraftKings, and there are some other ones. if you look at their ads, they would feature people holding these giant checks for big sums of money. And they advertise that and say, hey, this could be you. But what that is essentially is pretty much a lottery winner. 98%, 90, I don't know, I don't remember the numbers, but I remember when I was reading this article, it's like 98% of the people uh, either don't make money or lose money. It's a very small percentage that makes money. Now, some of those, that small percentage, can make a really good amount of money. So this is the lottery winner syndrome. We only see the lottery winners. We focus on the lottery winners. I think there's another name for it. Uh, uh, like from psychologists, they call this phenomena something. I'm forgetting that. I call it the lottery winner syndrome. But think about that, right? I mean, think about that. I mean, if you operate it that way, it's like, oh yeah, look, this person won the lottery. Let me just play lottery. Let me put all my money, right? Every week, whatever savings I have, I'm gonna put it buy a lottery ticket. Oh man, I mean, sure, if you choose to do that, I wouldn't advise it. I don't think it's a good strategy. So yeah, so Fiverr Upwork is very skewed. Yes, you see people who are doing really well. You would even you I mean you would see people who are charging like $300 and plus for Power BI, and you say, "Whoa, look, they made it. I can too." But the path is stacked against you. So yeah, it's a marketplace. It's not there to serve you. The last thing that I'll say is that again, we were talking about being an employee, running your own business, and let's put this one in there: Op, running a business on Upwork or Fiverr. Those things are immaterial. That's not the important part. When we're talking about getting your life of freedom, moving towards your goals, financial, life goals, whatever it is, those things are not important. What is important is that you gotta be in charge. You gotta be in charge. So even if you do go on Fiverr, you still need to build your brand, build your profile, and hopefully beyond Fiverr and Upwork. Because one of the other challenges of this platform is what we call in our industry putting your lemonade stand in somebody else's backyard. You put a lemonade stand, somebody else's backyard, right? It takes off, making a lot of money. And then they come in and they say, oh, you know what? Give me 50% of your money. And I'm just exaggerating, of course, but Upwork has done those things. It's like, and yeah, it can change the terms anytime. And worst thing, they can kick you off the backyard. I've heard of people who were kicked off, their accounts were shut down and poof, gone. So that is other risk. I personally, if it was my friend, my son, my loved one, anybody that I cared for, I would try my damn best to have them run completely the other way. Stay as far away from Fiverr or Upwork. Maybe I'm thinking of I got two kids and I'm thinking like if they wanted to smoke or drink, I say yeah, like see if you can avoid it. But if you're gonna do it responsibly. That's what I'd say. So if you're gonna be on the platform, then to be aware that yep, that's not your only game. You build your brand, your profile. LinkedIn is a great platform. So yeah, so even if you getting work through Upwork or Fiverr, great, but at least hedge your bets, be on LinkedIn, build your brand. All right, good question. Let's see. Is there anything else there? Awesome. Okay. Yeah. So a few people were asking about Fiverr. Hopefully that helped. All right. Hey, we got the end of it. Awesome. So, hey, folks, thank you so much for hanging out with me. It was a bit of an experiment, but I think it went well. And of course, these days, sometimes it's like, did I have fun doing it? And I did have fun hanging out with you, looking at your comments, looking at your questions. So yeah, so we hope to do it again soon. Summer, I usually do start focusing a bit more on family. Summer is great in Seattle. We try to spend as much time outdoors as possible. School is off. So yeah, I'm not sure when, but we'll be here. I'll be here. And hey, send me a message anytime. My profile is open. Anybody can send me a message. So if you need any help, let me know. The latest thing that I did, I think my last post or my second last post on the three things that I shared that everybody should change or update on their LinkedIn profile. How to do a good photo of yourself, how to do the right background photo on your profile, and the most important, have the right tagline. That's one where people often get it wrong. Look for that post or send me a message, and I'll be happy to even do like a private review. I've done that for a few folks who had reached out. I recorded like usually like a 5-minute video for them, just walking through the profile and what I saw and what my feedback was. So yeah, just send me a message. We'll be happy to do that for you. All right, folks. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.